Alright, so CSS nesting. It used to only be possible with preprocessors like SAS or less. But guess what? It's coming to CSS officially after August 28th. Why is that date? Well, because Firefox will release version 1.17, which includes support for CSS nesting. And with that, all modern browsers will support CSS nesting. Alright, let's check it out. This is the example that we're gonna work on. It is like a card component that has like a header, content, and a footer with a link inside. Alright, so the HTML, we got the article with the class card. We have a header inside. We have a div with the class content and a paragraph inside for the text. Then we have a footer with a link inside. But what we can also see is that I only have one selector and we have all these styles. Let's check it out. First, we have the article cards. And we define the border, border radius, and overflow hidden to the card. So we can see the border and the radius right here. Cool. Then we have the first nested selector, which is the header. The header is the top element with the grayed out background. As you can see, we have the border bottom of 1 pixel solid light gray. We have the background of a light gray color as well. And we also have a padding of 16 pixels. To indicate that we're nesting this selector, we add the ampersand sign in front of it. And we don't need to stop there. We can also add one more level and apply styles to the H2 that's within the header. So here's the H2, the header, and the articles. We just set the margin to 0. Because if we don't, our header is going to have a lot more space. Then we have the content, but guess what? We don't see the ampersand sign. That's because we don't always need to add it. So the ampersand sign represents a reference to the parent selector. So for example, if we were to rewrite this in plain CSS, it will be article.card and then the header, which of course it doesn't work now because we're clearly nesting it. And in the case of H2, it will be ampersand header. So the old ampersand is going to reference the parent selector. And then this ampersand is going to reference the parent selector. So article.card. The end CSS will result into something like this. So yeah, the ampersand represents the parent selector. Let's see another example. Here's the footer. And we are skipping the footer level. And we're going straight to the anchor tag. We have the background color to red, border radius, padding, text decoration, and color. And check this out. Using the ampersand, we're basically replacing whatever the parent selector is here, and then we're appending the hover selector, which just sets the background to maroon. And there's this effect. We can also access the after pseudo selector. So while we're hovering, add the greater than symbol to the after pseudo element, and then set its margin left to 12 pixels. So there you have it. What's also cool about CSS nesting is that we can also use the is selector. And as you can see, we don't have an ampersand here. And this translates to any child of the article tag with the class name of card that satisfies this condition, which is it's either the element with the class content or the footer. In this case, set its padding to 16 pixels. So that is the content of the card right here and also the footer right here. And there we go. If we delete this, we're going to see, yeah, the padding is gone now. So to make this clearer, this will translate something like this in pure CSS. Article.card.content and then comma article.card footer, and inside we have the padding of 16 pixels. That's pretty much it. And these are not the only CSS selectors that we can use with CSS nesting. For example, we can use the descendant selector. We can also use the sibling selector as well. We can use the not, just like we're using is. We can also use the has, etc. The most important thing to understand is that the ampersand symbol in this case copy pastes the parent selector. And if there's an ampersand over there, then it's going to fetch the parent of the parent selector, etc. And there we have it. That's CSS nesting in a nutshell. If you want to check out this example, I'll drop a link of the code pen in the description below, so you can play with the code yourself. If you want to show support, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments if you like this video. Thanks for watching.